Hello, Burpam and Pokemon fans. Hello, welcome to another live stream. I'm so happy to be back with you. It's been a week, I know. I have been smashing through Pokemon Scarlet. I am so excited about these games. They are incredible. Now, for anybody with even just a basic knowledge of Pokemon type matchups and level jumps. Oh, there's somebody here. Hello. For anybody with a basic understanding of type matchups and level jumps, this game is very easy until you get to the final boss. Let's dive right into this, shall we? All right. So today, you can see I've got a bit of a different setting in my background here. I bought myself a lava lamp the other day at work, so I was like, "Hey, lava lamp, awesome! This will be fun for videos." And then I actually bought this Hailstorm Mighty back here from mnjtvmerch.com. I am not actually associated with MNJTV, but I love his videos. And when I saw this thing, I was like, I have to have it. Very freaking connection problems again. Sorry, this video may pause or lag at points because apparently my connection is really bad with the internet here, which is not fun. But all that aside, let's try and have a good stream today. So when I started out, I played Pokemon Scarlet first. I am actually playing through Violet currently, but I played through Scarlet first. My starter, as far as I can tell, everybody I know is Team Fuecoco, except for one person, and that's my editor, Delta Horcrux. He's Team Sprigatito, but everybody else is Team Fuecoco, which I find just hilarious. Everybody chose the fire starter this time around. It was so fun. In its final evolved form, it's actually Fire Ghost type, which is an incredible typing. It does make it weak to Ghost, but also strong against it, so it's kind of a double-edged sword there. But if you terrestrialize it into its fire type, it loses its Ghost type weakness. And also the weakness to Dark type, I believe, because Ghost is also weak to Dark. But once you can get the terrestrial orb, you start out in a small town just east, I think, of a small town called Los Platos. You live very close to the town, but you're kind of on the outskirts of it. Your rival lives just up the road from you. Nimona is your rival. If you've seen the trailers, you know Nimona. You know, she's the girl who absolutely loves to battle, and she's connected to the Victory Road story. So that's a lot of fun. So the director of the academy that you attend, either Naranja Academy or Uva Academy, depending on which game you play. I played through Scarlet, so it's Naranja Academy. He goes ahead and comes over to your house to deliver your enrollment papers and give you the starters. Now, when you first get outside and he takes the starters out of their Pokeballs, you get to walk up the road with the starters, all three of them. You can't take all three of them once you get up the road to Nimona's house, but you get to walk with all three of them up this long pathway up to your rival's house, which is amazing. It's like they're so full of energy and life. It's just so funny to watch them running around you while you're walking up the road. Now, at first, you can't run until you get about halfway up that road. So anytime, when you're walking around your house at the beginning of the game, or, when you're just going outside or just walking up the path, you won't run right away. It's very slow in the beginning, which is kind of a bummer. But once you get halfway up the path, roughly, then you can run by pressing all the way down on the circle pad, on the top circle pad on your Switch. So that's a lot of fun. And it's just it's so entertaining to watch these Pokemon follow you out there. They follow you out there, and then once you get to Nemona's house, a lot of people talk about how the Pokemon games have become very explicit, not in any inappropriate way. It's just there's a lot of talking at the beginning of it, and Nimona never shuts up. So her dialogue is very annoying. But once you get past that, and you can actually choose your starter, now Nimona will choose the starter weak to yours. So since I picked Fuecoco, she chose Sprigatito because Sprigatito is a grass type. Grass type is weak to fire. If I had chosen Sprigatito like I did in Violet, she chose Quaxley. If I had chosen Quaxley, she would have chosen Fuecoco. She always chooses the starter weak to yours, leaving the Director Clavel, with the starter strong against yours. So then you go down the beach to just behind her house, which is like this giant mansion. And she's already a champion ranked trainer in her own right, but she's restarting her journey from scratch as your rival, which I think is incredible. So she is restarting her journey from scratch as your rival. What time is it? Okay. So you go down to the beach. She's like, hey, I'm going to throw out one of my usual partners. And then Director Clavel's like, hey, this person is new to battling because it's, the beginning of the game. So your character is technically very new to battling. And she's like, oh, crap. Yeah, I got to use the starter I just chose. So you easily beat her because, you already know a fire type move or a grass type move or a water type move, depending on which starter you chose. So I knew Ember right away. Or was it Ember? Yeah, I think it was Ember. I knew Ember right away, so I killed her Sprigatito pretty quick. Technically fainted it, but I killed it. So the beginning battle is, like any typical rival battle when the rival chooses the starter weak to yours. Now, once you get done with that, she'll help you along to the academy. You can explore everywhere in this game. There is no set path at all. So you can just mess around in the beginning of the game. She'll take you through a catching tutorial, which is basically, she gives you some Pokeballs. She says, okay, go weaken this Pokemon over here, and it's always a Lechonk. Go weaken this Lechonk over here, and then throw a Pokeball at it, and you'll catch it. Oh, hi, Vice. Good to have you here. Yay! I have a viewer. I have somebody in my chat. I'm very happy. So she'll just give you some Pokeballs and tell you, go catch this Lechonk over here, and it's trivially easy. Jesus, I can't talk. So you go over and you catch this Lechonk really easy, right? You use Scratch or whatever your normal type move is, and you catch it. And then you go around and you catch everything in the immediate vicinity. At least that's what I did. Because you can go anywhere you want. It doesn't matter. So once you get to Los Platos, the initial first town, once you get to that Pokemon Center, you can unlock what's called the Poke Portal, which is like where you go, which is like in previous games where you go to like, my sister got her haircut. Okay, great. Sorry, getting notifications on my phone. But you go to this town and you go to the Pokemon Center, and that's where you can unlock the Poke Portal, which will get you mystery gifts. It'll allow you to link trade with other players. You can, once you get there, you have access to the Union Circle, I believe, or that might not be till you get to the big first city, Messagoza, which is where the academy is. But in any case, you can mess around on that route for like literally hours, just picking up random items and catching everything in sight. Um, a lot of people tend to find their first shinies there. I have played this game for a week now, and I have not found a single shiny. I am very upset. I can't find a shiny anywhere. I even tried to chuck it at Outbreak, and it did not work. The Outbreak method is supposed to be like the big essential one that gets you the best odds for shinies. But more on that later. So then, Nimona tells you, let's go up to this lighthouse over here, over by Los Platos, and that's where you actually find Miraidon or Koraidon on the beach, and you have to give it your sandwich that your mom gave you at the beginning of the game, and follow it through this really scary cave filled with Houndour and Houndoom. And then it rescues you from the cave. The beginning story is kind of like inconsequential, really. You don't actually fight any of the Houndour or Houndoom. The Houndoom's level 40. If you were trying to fight that thing with your level 7 Fuecoco or whatever you chose, you are going to die. But then the legendary, whichever one you have, Koraidon for Scarlet or Miraidon for Violet, jumps you out of the cave and then proceeds to collapse because it used all its energy trying to get you guys out of the cave. And then you go up to the lighthouse and you meet up with Arvin, which is another rival of yours. He's mad that the legendary got out, and then he goes on this long rampage, and then you fight him, and he's got just like a level 5 Squovet, which is easy enough to kill. 2 moves, that's all it takes. And then he's just like, okay, fine, I guess you're strong enough. You can take this brute Pokeball off my hands. So he gives you Koraidon or Miraidon's Pokeball, and oh my god. And so from that point forward, that Pokemon is yours. You have access to a legendary Pokemon at the beginning of a Pokemon game. It's insane. You can't ride it until after you get through the whole orientation at the school, and then you go on the treasure hunt. But you do have it in your party. Well, it's not really in your party. It's just kind of there as like an extra thing that you get at the beginning of the game. But it's a lot of fun to have this like Quetzalcoatl looking lizard Pokemon on your team if you're playing Scarlet. I am in the middle of a recording. What do you want? Well, I'm busy.
But then come find me when you're not busy.
Okay, bye. Sorry, that was my little brother. So then, once you get to the town, Nimona will usher you to the school, and you battle 2 of the Team Star grunts on the steps of the school, and you can beat them pretty easily. Then Nimona gives you the Terrastal orb, and you can Terrastalize your Pokemon. Outside the gates of Mesagoza, though, she actually shows you what a Terrastal Pokemon is before you can actually Terrastalize. But if you caught a Wooper, a Paldean Wooper on that route north of Mesagoza, it's actually fairly easy to beat her Terrastal Pokemon because she Terrastalizes a Pawmi. If you caught a Paldean Wooper that also happens to have Water Absorb, that Pawmi literally can't hit you because it's a ground and poison type. If it has Water Absorb, it is no longer weak to water because it absorbs the water into itself. You can have this insanely strong Pokemon on the first route of the game. Now, the first one I caught in Violet did not have Water Absorb, so I went around and I was like battling a bunch of them to see which one had Water Absorb, and then I found one that has Water Absorb. It's the best counter It's the best counter to water type Pokemon. It's insane because like no matter what water type move it tries to use on you, if you have water absorb, it's not gonna hit you at all. Which is why it's amazing that a poison ground type has water absorb. Now it is actually a regional variant of Wooper from Gen 2. I think it was Gen 2. Pretty sure it was Gen 2. I'm not totally positive about that, but I think it was Gen 2. It was either Gen 2 or Gen 3, but I think it was Gen 2. And when it evolves into Clodsire. Now I do have a Clodsire on my team. Well, it's not on my team right now. It's in my boxes, but I do have it in my decks. But once you get through the whole tutorial at school and whatnot, then it goes ahead and it's, you get into your dorm room, you get all 3 stories, so Victory Road, Path of Legends, which is Arvin's story, and the story is so sad. I'll get into that in a little bit, and then Starfall Street, which is led by a mysterious person known as Cassiopeia, who hacked your phone in the game in order to talk to you. You find out later who this person really is, and it's insane. Because it's a fake out at first, and then you meet the real Cassiopeia. So, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, the beginning of the story, if you progress like a sane person and don't just like go off and like collect every freaking item you can find in all the Pokemon in existence in the first routes of the game, you can get through it in about 2 hours. Roughly. If you mess around on those first routes just trying to find a shiny, you can take up to 10 hours to actually get to the school, and it's funny. Yeah, you can just mess around for hours and nothing bad will happen. It's a lot of fun. But once you get to the treasure hunt, then you choose which story progression you want to go with. A lot of people are doing the stories in various progressional order because you kind of have to do them simultaneously in order to actually get to certain areas for other stories. I beat all the Titans first. Now, I did not beat all the Titans and then go for the gyms. I did a few of the gyms along with the Titans and like 2 of the Team Star bases. Each of the Team Star bases has a specific name. The Sketter or Shedder, or nobody really knows how to pronounce this stupid word. The Fire Crew, their boss Mela has obviously all fire types, and each base has its own what they call a Starmobile, which is powered by Reverum and Varum, the two of the new Paldean Pokemon that are like engines. They're like car engines. It's insane. And I actually do have a Varum in my box, I think. In one of my boxes somewhere. But it's a lot of fun. It really is. It's a lot of fun. When you first get to the gates of the Fire Crew, I'm just going to call it the Fire Crew because I can't pronounce whatever that word is that the name of the crew actually is. I don't think anybody actually knows what it's called yet. But you beat the guard at the gate, and then you ring the bell, and then you have 10 minutes to defeat 30 Pokemon in the Let's Go feature. You send out the first 3 Pokemon in your party to beat up the Grunts Pokemon. They make them all faint. I did it in like 2.5 minutes. Yeah, they give you a lot of time to actually do it. Now, I actually kind of got bodied the first time I went through it because I forgot to go back to Clive and heal my Pokemon that were fainted and level up enough. So Clive is basically Director Clavel in disguise. It's pretty easy to see it because he looks exactly like Clavel with a crazy pompadour and like really ridiculous like base school uniform thing on for some reason. I don't really understand the whole thing, but I did actually beat the entire game, so that was a lot of fun. You know, the team star bases are like, if you're not prepared fully for whichever base you're at, you will get destroyed. I went for the poison crew before I was ready for it. I got shredded. The Navi crew. The Navi crew is the poison crew, and they just like I was able to easily enough beat the 30 Pokemon in 10 minutes. That was not the hard part. The hard part is that when you're fighting the leader of each of these bases, their car is one of the Pokemon. Their Starmobile is one of the Pokemon. So it's insane that you have to beat a car with a Pokemon. And if you're not high enough level, you get destroyed. It's so bad. So I took that one on way before I was actually ready for it. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to come back to that one later when I'm a higher level and I'm ready for it. Yeah, that was a mistake. I'm pretty sure the poison crew is meant to be one of the last two crews that you go for. It's supposed to be like poison and I think fighting are the two crews that you should go for last, because they are insanely strong. Now, this game, while it doesn't have a set path, there is no leveling. In the game, there's no like, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure what I'm looking for. There's no, it's not like, it's not balanced in terms of, hey, you can fight this crew and they'll have a lower level for whatever level you're at. It's not like that. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but it's not like that. There's no set like scaling. That's the word I'm looking for. There's no set level scaling. They're at the level that they're meant to be at for whatever point in the game you should go to them at. Apologies. Something caught in my throat. Let me just wash that down. Yes, I enjoy Mountain Dew. Not regular Mountain Dew, not cherry, but I love Mountain Dew. Hashtag not sponsored. Yeah, I'm not sponsored by anybody, but that's because I'm not monetized yet. I only have 50 freaking followers, but, well, no, I guess I have 52 now. I did get a couple from my Discord servers, which I will try and figure out how to post a link to my Discords in the description or in one of the comments below, and see if I can get more people on my Discords and maybe get my Discord people up as my viewers on YouTube. That'd be nice. Speaking of which, if you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell so you know when I go live or I'm doing a video or I upload something. Leave a like if you really enjoy what you're hearing here. Leave a comment below. Please make them very respectful. If you disagree with anything I'm saying, if you think something I'm saying is stupid, at least be respectful about it. That's all I ask. You want to call me dumb for a silly comment, whatever, but at least don't be like super rude. That's all I ask. But once you beat Mela from the fire crew, and then I think you can beat like the first 3 gyms should be like, if you have the fire type, the first 3 gyms you should go for are bug, ice, and grass. You can go for Iono too. She's the electric gym leader, and she's pretty easy to beat with your Clodsire because she literally can't hit you at all. Unfortunately, she does have 2 Pokemon that in her team that one is a flying type and one has levitate, so you can't hit it with a ground move, which is the only thing that electric is weak to, is ground types. But you can still hit it with Clodsire, and like they'll try to use electric type moves, and it'll do literally nothing to your Clodsire. I do recommend you have a Clodsire before you take on Iono. Each gym has a specific challenge. So let's get into that real quick. Each gym has a specific challenge. The gym in Artisan Town is the grass gym. Its leader is Brassius. Yes, that is his name, and that is an insanely dumb name, but whatever. I'm not sure it matters. But Brassius is the grass type gym leader, and his challenge is you have to go around Artisan and find 10 Sunflora, 2 of which you actually have to beat in order for them to follow you, and then you bring them back to the field that they're supposed to be in, that they're supposed to stay in order to complete the gym test. And once you do that, it's fairly easy to find them. A couple of them are actually in the flower pots. But they'll follow you around. Once you have all 10, you just go back to the area right next to the gym, and they'll stay in that area, and then you can go in and you can beat Brassius. His Terrastal Pokemon. Each gym leader has a Pokemon that is not the type for their specific gym, but they terrastalize it into that gym's type. His Terrastal Pokemon is Sudowoodo, which makes a lot of sense because everybody thinks that Sudowoodo should have been grass type from the beginning, but it's a faux tree. It's a fake tree, so it's actually rock type, but he terrastalizes it into a grass type Pokemon. And he calls it Truly Wudo, which I find freaking hilarious. So you go in and you beat this thing pretty easily. If you chose Fuecoco, you just use Ember and Flamethrower or whatever you have. That's a fire type move. You can easily take care of that gym. Then you go over and you go to the bug type gym. I forget what town it's in. Cortondo, maybe? I'm not really sure. But it's really easy to beat the bug type gym too, because bug is weak to fire. If you have an ice type, it's also weak to ice. And maybe ground. I'm not really sure. It might be weak to ground too. I mean, that kind of makes sense. I know it must be weak to rock because it can smash bugs with rocks. So it's got to be rock, maybe, that I'm thinking about. But if you have a rock or a fire or ice type on your team, you'll be able to handle that gym easily enough. And it's really low level too. That gym challenge is kicking a giant olive around some obstacles. It kind of looks like a really big green football. It looks ridiculous, but yeah, you have to kick it around some obstacles and into a goal, like you're playing soccer, or I guess as they call it in Europe, football. But yeah, that's an interesting one. That was certainly the weirdest challenge I've ever seen. I beat that gym pretty easily too, and then I went on to Iono, and I actually completely destroyed her gym with. At that point, he was no longer Fuecoco. He was Crocolore. I think it's the middle evolution name. Yeah, that sounds about right. Crocolore. Now my starter was actually female. I got first pick female. That doesn't happen usually. When I picked Sprigatito and Violet, male. Your starter has an 87.5% chance to be male, 12.5% chance to be female. There are a few YouTubers out there that got the first pick female. Not all of them, but a lot. A lot of people like to reset for the female so they can breed it later and get like the shinies. Now, a lot of people don't know what shiny Pokemon are, especially if they're unfamiliar with Pokemon as a whole. Shiny Pokemon are basically Pokemon of a different color. They're very cool. Now, some Pokemon do have multiple colors, so it gets a little confusing, but the shiny coloring is always different from any of the forms that any of the Pokemon have. So, a lot of people like to reset for the female starter. I lucked out. I called my starter Skylar. And on the first route, I actually did catch a little. It's called the mouse Pokemon, but it kind of looks like a hamster to me. It's a Palmo, and I nicknamed it after my mom's hamster, Dusky. I thought it was funny because it kind of looks like her hamster. So I nicknamed it after her hamster, whose name I actually came up with in the first place anyway. So yeah, that was fun. So I have a Palmo right now. I don't know how to evolve it to the third stage because it does have a third evolution. I might just have to level it up more. Maybe I need a Thunderstone. I don't know, but if I do need a Thunderstone, I have a ton of those. Yeah. You can do different raids throughout this game as well. There are raid dens like everywhere, terrestrial raid dens. Just make sure that you are the proper level for whatever raid you're going for. If you're over level for it, that's great. If you're over level for whatever raid you're going for, that's fantastic. But there is a special event coming up in December. In December, there is a special event coming up for 7-star raids for Dragon Terra type Charizard in the game. Now, usually you can't get Charizard at all until home compatibility becomes available in spring. But you cannot get Charizard at all in the game. It's not in the decks at all. But with this new event that's coming up, I think it's December 1st or the 4th, and then like the 8th through like the 12th or something. I don't remember when it is exactly, but like I'll get notifications about it because I'm subscribed to the official Pokemon YouTube channel. But these raids, the Charizard in these raids is going to be a Dragon Terra type, and it's going to be level 100. Do not attempt this thing on your own with Pokemon that are less than full leveled. Level 100, if you don't know, is the highest level you can have in a Pokemon game. If your Pokemon is not level 100, do not attempt this raid at all. Or at least, level 95. Your entire team should be level 95 by the time December rolls around. God, I hope I can get my team up that high in time. My Skylar's very close. It's fully evolved. She's fully evolved. Skylar is fully evolved right now. She's a Skeleturge. I keep calling her Scarlet, which is dumb because Scarlet is in Violet, and it is a Pokemon that has evolved from an entirely different species called Charcadet. And to get the Charcadet to evolve into either Scarlet or Armarouge, depending on your game, you either need to get Bronzor fragments from Pokemon Scarlet or Sinistea chips from Pokemon Violet in order to trade for the armor you need in order to evolve Charcadet into either Armarouge or Scarlet. Why do I keep doing that? Ceruledge. Ceruledge. But the other gyms in the region are Psychic, Normal. Normal was pretty easy. Let me think. Bug, Grass, Ice, Psychic, Normal, Ghost, Electric, There's 8 gyms in total. What am I missing? Which one am I missing? It's not Dark, because Dark was actually one of the Team Star bases. Actually, if you're going to go for the Team Star bases, Dark should be either first or second. Like, do the Fire one and then do, like, the Dark one. Because it's actually trivially easy to do the Dark one. They're under level 30. Now, as for the Titans, the Titan story is just so sad. First, you beat the initial Titan, the Stony Cliff Titan that we all got introduced to in the trailers. Cloth. Trivially easy to beat this thing if you have a water type or grass type, or you're not weak to rock. I used my I think I used Whooper on it. I don't remember, but trivially easy, and then you can dash once you get that, and then Arven shows up because you battle the Pokemon twice. Each of the Titans, you battle them twice. So when you battle Cloth the first time, you get it to red HP, and then it kind of runs away down the cliff. And then you jump down practically right on top of the stupid thing. It turns around, smashes a wall, eats some Herba Mystica, which is the plant that you're trying to find in order to help Arven. And then you and Arven do a 2-on-1 against the Titan. Cloth. Now, you can catch a Cloth in the game, but you cannot catch any of the actual Titan Pokemon. If they're in Titan form, you cannot catch them at all. It is not possible to catch a Titan. At all. However, the other Titans are insane. One of them is a new Pokemon called Bombardier, or at least that's how I pronounce it. It could be Bombarder, like Bombardier, but it's a bird. It's a stork. And that one's rock and flying type, so you really have to hit it hard in order to take it down. And then there's Great Tusk, which actually escaped from the Great Crater of Paldea that you can't get into until you beat all 3 of the main stories. So it's kind of tough to figure out what's good against this thing. It is a ground type. So you need to make sure that now it's only Great Tusk and Scarlet, because it is a Scarlet exclusive Paradox form Pokemon. In Violet, it's Iron Tread, which is the same thing, only it's a Violet exclusive of a Paradox of Donphan, a Pokemon from Gen 2. There are 6, I think. 6 total Paradox forms per game. I started with Scarlet. I can't even talk anymore. I started with Scarlet because I liked the past Paradox forms better. I am only missing 1 right now. I actually caught almost all of them. I can't find the last one anywhere in the Great Crater. But you do eventually get to go down into the Great Crater once you beat all the stories. And your teammates when you go down there are Arven, Penny, and Nimona. Now, Penny is a name you haven't heard in this video yet. Penny is actually connected to the Team Star story, and we'll get back to that in a minute, because I want to talk about this Arven thing first. Arven, when you get to the second Titan, whichever one you go for, Great Tusk, Bombardier, Dondozo, which is like a giant catfish whale thing, that's actually water dragon type. It does not look like a dragon at all, but I guess that's why they call it the false dragon Titan. There's 5 total, so what are the other 2? Orthworm and What was the last one? Can't remember what the last one is now. I don't remember, but once you get past all of them, then you have the ability to climb, you can dash, you can fly, and you can swim, and you can jump really high. Like, you can jump a little bit at first, but the first one will give you the ability to dash. Then whichever one you do second will give you the ability to jump higher. Then the third one will give you the ability to climb, I think. And then the fourth one will give you the ability to swim, and then you get the ability to fly last. Which is kind of unfortunate, but, it is what it is. So you beat all of them, but once you get to the second one, you figure out why Arvin is so intent on finding all these Urban Mystica. He's got a Pokemon with him called Mabostiff, which is a brand new Pokemon. It's the evolution of another Gen 9 Pokemon called Mastiff. At least that's how everybody online has been pronouncing this Pokemon's name. You can't really tell from the actual spelling of the name, but we'll call it Mastiff. And it is okay. It is like an insane Pokemon. It is really cute, but his Mastiff got attacked down in the Great Crater when he went to go see his mom or his dad, whichever game you're playing. Professor Sawdust the mom, Professor Turos the dad, depending on the version of the game. They're version exclusive professors, which is a brand new for the series, just like it being completely open world and no set path, and also having 3 main stories. This game is just so insane. There's so much packed into it, and I love it. I love it. A lot of the Gen 2 Pokemon now have either regional variants or evolutions, or regional variants and evolutions. It's insane. Although I do think the Dunsparce, the evolution to Dunsparce, is kind of dumb. It's just Dunsparce, but more. I'm not a big fan of the Dunsparce, but I needed to catch up for the deck, so I just caught one down the Great Crater. But you're going around trying to heal this Mabostiff with these Titan stories, which I think is so sweet. It's a sick dog Pokemon, and it's actually a dark type dog. You can get a Mabostiff yourself if you catch a Mastiff. Actually, I think you might be able to get it if you catch. I think you can catch wild Mabostiff in the overworld. Yeah, that's the thing with this game. You can catch any Pokemon that you meet in the overworld. There's no actual wild grass encounters, randomized ones like in all the previous games. You see what's on screen, and you can either avoid it entirely, or you can go up and attack it. Same thing with the trainers. They don't actually come up to you. You have to go up and talk to them to initiate a battle, which I think is insanely cool. It gives you a chance to, okay, I want to progress with this, but I'll maybe come back to this later. I love that. These games are just so good, but with anybody with a basic knowledge of Pokemon at all, it is insanely easy to complete all 3 of the main stories. It's not terribly difficult to get past the Pokemon League. You do an initial assessment where it's like an interview, and then you go and battle the Elite Four, and then you immediately battle the champion like in previous games, and then you battle your rival one more time once you become champion rank as well. But with the Team Star story, the students who are a part of Team Star, because they are students at the academy, the students who are a part of Team Star were being bullied. So they all gathered together. They all gathered together to form this team to challenge the bullies to a big battle. Now the bullies, when all the students that were being bullied came together and challenged them to this big battle in the middle of the schoolyard, the bullies just ran away, apologizing profusely, and eventually all of them dropped out of school, which is kind of sad because it's just like there used to be a big bullying problem at that school, and now it's no longer a problem because all the bullies dropped out, but Team Star didn't want to go back without their big boss, their friend, who initially in the fake out battle you think is Professor Clavel, or no, Director Clavel. It's not him. It's Penny, the shy student who was initially at your first battle with Team Star. Team Star was trying to recruit Penny because nobody actually knew what the name of the big boss was or what they looked like. Penny is the big boss of Team Star. She helped form Team Star. She recruited the 5 captains of each of the squads in order to combat the bullies at school. And she tried to disband the group, and they didn't want to disband, so she had one of them write up a code. If they got defeated by somebody else, then they had to hand over their badge, and they were no longer allowed to be a boss. Penny is Cassiopeia. She's trying to shut down Team Star, and the only way to do that is for you to defeat each of the captains of the squads and take their badges, and then you have to defeat Penny and take her badge as the leader of Team Star. Once you've done all that, becoming champion, getting all the Herba Mystica from Mabostiff, who eventually is like a crazy strong Pokemon, and then beating Penny and taking her Team Star badge and basically disbanding Team Star, except they're not really disbanded. They can still keep their bases, but they need to help other trainers at the school actually get good. So there's that. Once you do all that, then you go down into the Great Crater of Paldea, called there by either Professor Sada in Scarlet or Professor Turo in Violet. So you're traveling down there with Arvin and Nimona and Penny. While you're down there, you run into the Paradox Pokemon. All 6 of them. The first one that attacks you is called Screamtail. It's Paradox Jigglypuff, and this thing is nightmare fuel. They give Jigglypuff like a long, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like a hair extension thing or like an actual tail. I mean, they call it Screamtail, so I guess it's a tail. But it comes out the top of its head, which makes no sense. And then they gave it fangs like a vampire. This thing is nightmare fuel. It's insane. But you and Nimona beat it up pretty easy. Once you get to the first, once you get to like the first station in what they call Area 0, then you go down a little further. You get attacked by Fluttermane, which is Miss Magius? I think it's Miss Magius. Paradox Miss Magius. You and Penny beat that one up, I think. Is it Penny that helps you with that one? Yeah, and then you run into another Great Tusker, Iron Treads, and the third station down in the crater, you're going to these stations to try and disable the locks on Zero Base or Zero Lab down at the very bottom of where you can currently get to in the Great Crater of Paldea. You can't get into the Great Crater until you beat the main story. Great Creator is the post-game story. Okay. So it is a really cool area. You can actually catch wild Screamtail, Fluttermane, Slitherwing, which is Paradox Volcarona, Sandy Shocks, which is the one I'm missing, which is Paradox Magneton. All the Paradox forms are either fully evolved or they're Jigglypuff. Great Tusk, which I actually did catch down in the desert area that you first run into the Titan Great Tusk, because it's wandering around Paldea even though it shouldn't be. And then Brute Bonnet, which is Paradox Amoonguss, which was fairly easy to find and defeat and catch. Once you get into the Zero Lab, you find out that the professor, Sada Arturo, whoever it is, ended up dying. And the actual professor that you've been talking to is an AI. I'm sorry, they actually made a cyborg thing in Pokemon. This is crazy. This is super crazy. Like, what are they even doing with this? It's insane. But it's a lot of fun. They made a cyborg professor who has all the memories of the actual professor before she or he passed away. When you get inside the time machine that they built, yes, they built a time machine in this game. They finally have time machines in this game, but the problem with the time machine is that you need either the Scarlet book or the Violet book to shut it down, but it won't shut down fully until the professor, the AI professor person, you have to battle them twice. And they have a second Koraidon or Miraidon, depending on which game you're playing. They have a second one. They were able to get 2 into modern times, either from the past or from the future. They were able to get 2. The one you came across when you first rescued it from the beach, and then you can catch the other one once you beat the post game. You battle this professor twice, and they have all Paradox forms. Koraidon is basically past Paradox Cyclizar, which is a Pokemon you can easily find all over Paldea. It kind of looks like a bike or a motorcycle. It's kind of crazy. It looks like a cross between a bike or a motorcycle and a lizard, which is exactly what Koraidon and Miraidon are. Miraidon is future Paradox Cyclizar, which is weird. But in this game, we finally, after all these years of asking, we finally have a dolphin Pokemon. It's so cool. Its name is Finizen, and it's really, really cute. I don't know what its evolved form is yet because you need co-op in order to actually evolve it. You have to do co-op play with it in your party and level it up while another person is in your world or you're in another person's world so that you can get its evolved form, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. We got a dolphin Pokemon finally, and we have a flamingo Pokemon called Flamigo. Flamingo Amigo. I'm sorry, what? This thing's name is so funny. Flamingo Amigo. They removed one letter and made a real flamingo Pokemon. It just looks like a regular flamingo, but it's freaking fighting type now. And those of you who played Gen 1, any Gen 1 game at all, know Tauros. Tauros now has 3 new Paldean forms. I have only been able to find one so far. I don't know where the other 2 are. Apparently, they're really, really rare. But it's a fighting type now, as opposed to the normal type it was before. It's a fighting type, and its fur is completely black. With darker horns, kind of smaller horns, but darker horns, and the 3 dots on its face like it had before. It's a lot of fun. This game is like insane. I recommend, if you're going to play a Pokemon game, play this game, but please, please make sure that you are leveling your Pokemon to the spots where they should be for whatever battle you have coming up in the game. Because, like I said at the beginning of this, there is no level scaling in this game. Yes, you can go to any gym in any order, but you should not do the psychic one first. I made that mistake of doing like the second one like fourth. And I got completely destroyed by that gym. Do not do the psychic gym first. You will not be high enough level to beat it. You have to make sure your levels are accurate for the point in the game where you're supposed to be able to get to it. Yes, every gym leader in the game has a Pokemon not of its gym type, but they terrestrialize it into something of its gym type, except for Larry, the normal type gym leader. His signature Pokemon, his terrestrial Pokemon, is a normal flying type Pokemon called Staraptor, which is an insanely good Pokemon. And he just terrestrializes it to have like the normal typing, which it can have anyway. It can either be a normal terrestrial or a flying terrestrial type Pokemon, unless you get like a rare Terra type. Right now in the game, there are Eevee raids for every single one of the 18 Pokemon types. I have like 7 of them. I'm working on getting the other 11. It's not easy to find some of these. So I've got poison, water, grass, fire, electric, dragon, normal. Normal is just, if you catch a random one out in the wild. I actually have 2 water type Umbreon, which are normally dark type evolutions, but I got them both. I have a water type freaking Garchomp, and that thing is a beast. Like, you terrestrialize it against a dragon type and you use a dragon type move against it, guess what? Any dragon type move is now not going to be super effective against your Garchomp. Any dragon type move the opposing Pokemon uses, any fairy type move, any ice type move is not going to be super effective now because it's a freaking water Terra type. You go into the Charizard raids with a level 100 Garchomp that has the water Terra type and tell me you don't defeat this thing easy. You can hit it with a stab, super effective outrage, and it should go down in like 3 hits. Or, Dragon Claw, or Dragon Rage, or I don't know. There's like 50 some dragon type moves? Set up with like a Dragon Dance or Sword Dance, and just keep hitting it with a stab super effective dragon type move, and you can kill the Charizard pretty easy. If you terrestrialize it after the 3 turns that it needs to charge the terrestrial, and don't die in those 3 turns. Hopefully one of the people you're playing with has a Pokemon that knows follow me and will keep that thing from killing you. So that's my take on these new games. They are insanely easy for people with even just a basic knowledge of Pokemon, but they're a lot of fun to play because you can go through it any number of times and go through different paths every single time. That is what makes this game have so much more replay value than previous games, because previous games you had set paths you had to go through in order to do whatever it was you were supposed to do towards the end of the games. You had set paths. This one you can go wherever you want. You don't have to complete you don't have to do anything before you complete your Pokédex. And then you can just go and just do all the stories all at once. Or you can do one story at a time and then do another story and just do the third story and you just body everything. You do not have to have one set path, and there is so much replay value. It's so incredibly cool. I love it. These games, I'm so happy. I'm like super upset that I still haven't found a shiny, because so many people are finding shinies and it's really just like, why can't I find one? But it's an amazing game. If you're new to Pokemon, play this game before you play any of the previous games, because you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. It's insane. It's fun. It's crazy. And we have a blast. Anyway, we'll catch you on the next one. I'm not sure when I'm going to upload again, but yeah, I've been uploading a lot lately. 74 videos in 74 days. I got a little carried away. So I might take a little hiatus because I am it's super busy at work right now, and I don't have a whole lot of time on my hands here. But we will eventually catch you on a new one. In the meantime, you all have a lovely day and shine bright. And